Welcome to Vicky's Keto Way of Life. Tonight for dinner, I'm going to be making salmon fillets with cauliflower puree and fresh green beans. I'm going to be making a shallot and garlic confit to go on top of the salmon fillet. So what I do is I cut up the shallots and the garlic. I'm going to line them in this pan. And then I use my dehydrated basil that comes from my herb garden. What I do is dehydrate it every year, and I just keep it in some little container. This is just a plastic container that I keep it in. And then I'm going to be using some fresh thyme also and putting it on top of it. I like to use and cover my shallots and garlic with Banner Elk olive oil. If I don't have that available, this is what I use. And I buy this olive oil from Costco. And I also will be using a little grapeseed oil. I just like the intense flavors that it brings to the table. The olive oil has a nice peppery flavor. I really love it. So let me get started and show you what I do. First, I'm going to cut up the shallots and the garlic. So I have the shallots and the garlic cut up and I have it in my pan. But first of all, I just kind of want to show you that this isn't a huge cast iron skillet. This is just a very small cast iron skillet. So I'm going to compare it to the full-size cast iron skillet so you can kind of get an idea of how small this skillet is. So as you can see, it's a really small skillet. So it took 3 shallots to fill this skillet, and then I have the garlic also in there. And so then what I'm going to do is just lay my basil and then my thyme, and then I'm going to pour the grapeseed and the olive on top of that. So I'm going to fill it completely up to where it's covering. So I'm going to make sure that it's kind of just covering it really nicely. So, because this is going to be going on top of my salmon fillets once they are seared on both sides and cooked. So this is just going to be going on top. So now I'm going to put this into the oven. Sometimes people just simmer it on the stovetop for about 45 minutes to an hour. And you just want to make sure that when you put it in, I always do it at about 350 degrees in the oven for about 30 to 45 minutes. You want to make sure that your garlic and your shallots are softened and they collapse when you push into them. You want to make sure that they're taking on like a golden color also, because then you know it's really done and it's absorbed all the flavor that's from the oils and from the thyme and the basil. So once you do that, then you're going to remove from the heat and you're going to cover it. You can also store this. It makes approximately 1 to 1.5 cups of confit. So what you want to do is store it in the refrigerator to up to a month, but usually I use it within the first week. So I'm going to go put it in the oven now at 350 degrees for 30 to 45 minutes. Alright, so now I've taken it out of the oven and you can see what it looks like. You can see the nice caramel look on the onion, on the shallots, I should say. See how beautiful that is? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the thyme and the basil. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to remove the onions and the garlic. And the oil that's in here has a fabulous taste, even better than it did before, because now it has the taste of the thyme, the basil, the garlic, and the shallots. And I'm going to set that oil aside, and that's what I'm going to use tonight to cook my salmon fillets in, which is going to add even more flavor to my salmon. So I'm going to stick that over here into my little container. So this is very hot, so what you want to do is transfer it over into another container. As you can see that I'm taking it out, trying to let that oil drain off. Some of the oil getting in there is fine because it's fabulous. It tastes fabulous. And so then I'm going to transfer it over here. And then what I'm going to end up doing is I will just press it down, and that's going to go on top of my salmon fillets tonight for dinner. And I'll do a videotape on that also. But this is my shallot and garlic confit that's going to go on top of my salmon for dinner tonight. So once I move it over here, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take probably just a fork, but I'm going to smash it down and just to kind of make an emulsion out of it, and that's going to go on top of my salmon. And then, as I said before, this oil, which tastes absolutely fabulous, I've already stuck my finger in there and yum, it's so delicious. And so my thyme and my basil that's been sitting in the oil, I'm going to wind up putting that back into the oil to cook my salmon tonight. So that is how you make garlic and shallot confit. Thank you for choosing Vicky's Keto Way of Life. Have a fabulous day.